look at an MSX game which I've already started loading on the MSX behind me there. And this game I have played before on the Spectrum briefly as part of one of the Replay Gamer podcasts that we did a few months ago. And the game is called Terminus. So let's take a look at it. As you can see, it is loading up. Here's the packaging of Terminus then, and you can see a picture with the logo at the top and kind of ice palace, which I assume is the prison, and also a spaceship, which I assume is your rescue party, for want of a better word. This was a mad game, so $2.99 price tag. And the MSX colour scheme, if you like, is black with red logo, red writing. Spine's pretty much as you'd expect. And on the back we've got some screenshots and a bit of description. The system rules the universe. Only a teenage gang called the Wanglers stand against it. Their anti-education raids, blah 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 blah, help them rescue their leader from imprisonment in 512 screens of mind-blowing graphics. Written by Paul Hargreaves, conversion by Simon Freeman. And inside we've got a repeat of what was on the back there with a bit more information. As it says at the top, Terminus Prison Planet for the full title of the game. And loads of instructions, and then on the inside we've got 2 pages of information about how to play the game. Now you control 4 different characters, one at a time, not all at the same time. So they've got slightly different abilities to describe them all there, and some tips about how to play the game as well, transporting yourself around. Energy looks, I think that should be energy locks, really, restricting movement. And again, just a repetition there saying it's got 512 screens. At any one time you can only see 1/512th of the entire complex. Okay, so that's the inside of the packaging. Just wait for the game to load now. So here's your title screen, such that it is. You've got the status bar across the top and it says Terminus Prison Planet. It's got the designed by and converted by names there, as already mentioned, and the copyright. And that's about it. So it says press fire to begin, so let's do that. So the game starts with your 4 different characters, and you can pick which one you want to teleport into the prison complex. As you can see, I'm moving the joystick left and right and it's highlighting the different characters. So I don't really know which one to go for. We'll start with this guy who seems to be called Mobod. Press fire and he's teleported in. So there I am, and as you can see the prison is effectively a maze that's rather colourful. This guy can, when you push up, thrusts, and he can also fire bullets, which is all good stuff. So the maze is like a patchwork of random characters. It's really colourful, way more colourful on the Spectrum, I have to say. The MSX graphics don't have quite the same vibrancy. As I mentioned, I have played this before briefly, and it's basically a maze. You wander around the 512 screens trying to locate the guy that you've got to rescue and avoiding various nasty things. The graphics are quite nicely detailed. This is just a straight port of the Spectrum version, as a lot of MSX games were, certainly in this country. So they're a bit more chunky on this machine and a bit less colourful, as I said. But basically, it's a straight port of the Spectrum version, so the sound's fairly limited as well. Lots of interesting designs of aliens and characters and landscapes and things. Lots of things that you need to try and avoid. I suppose I should mention something about the status bar. So up here you've got your power, energy, You've also got your laser level, which if you start firing starts to go down, but then it just restores itself. And you've also got a thrust level, which if you thrust up and hold upwards, I would have expected that to go down, but it's not doing, so I don't know really. Okay, whatever. So anyway, moving around. Lots of things that can drain your energy, like this big thing here drains your energy, and the doors do as well. And every so often you'll come across one of these terminals, and just to demonstrate what these do, there's a door there, as you can see, which I can't get through, and also drains my energy. But if you go to the side of this terminal, you see these arrows moving around, and if you disengage from the terminal at the right point in time, then the barrier has now gone, which is nice. Not that there's any way you can go after that, so it's a bit of a waste of time, but at least you get the idea of how those work. So, carry on wandering around the maze. See what else we can find. Oh, another barrier that's not accessible, so maybe I can go and sort that out with this thing. Let's see if that's got rid of that one. Yep, so you get the idea there. And that's pretty much it. That's all I've discovered so far, is you wander around the maze and see what you can find, basically. Can I get through there? No, I don't know what's going on there really. Lots of things that drain your energy, as I said, and it's just a case of trying to explore as far as you can until your little guy dies. I am just going to kill him off to show you what happens when you die. There are some things to shoot here as well, which finally gives me some points, but there you go, I've died. And basically when your guy dies, you go back to the teleportation chamber and pick a different guy. So I'm going to pick this blue guy just to demonstrate one of the worst designed characters in the history of gaming. This guy, Specs. He walks backwards and forwards. He can shoot, but if you want to go up with him, yeah, he bounces like a ball. But once he's in the air, you can't control. You can only control his left and right movement once he's hit something, namely the floor. So it is ridiculously impossible to get him to go where you want him to go. And you can control the height of his bounce by holding upwards and make him slow down his bounce by pushing downwards. But eventually you bounce him up here, and I've yet to be able to make him actually go through this gap here, so God knows what use he is really. But yeah, we'll get rid of him and go back to one of the other guys. Just try and investigate a bit further with one of the others, but not much else to really show with the game, to be perfectly honest. This guy's a little bit different again. With him, you can, when you push up, he's like a magnet and he sticks to the ceiling, which is quite useful in places to avoid the traps and things. So I'm sort of continuing on my investigation of this prison planet with the little green guy, Magno, from the point at which my first guy died. So let's see if I can find anything more interesting with this one. Not there. Oh, lots of these little barriers suddenly appear when you're not expecting them, which is quite annoying. Oh, plunge down there, and I can't see any reason for falling down there, so that's a dead end. There's a lot of dead ends in this maze. To be honest, I'm really not a fan of games like this. Too much exploration and not enough action for my liking. But these kind of games were very popular on the Spectrum and most of the 8-bit computers, I suppose. Just not for me. Wouldn't have seen any benefit from seeing a game like this on the Commodore 64, and I wouldn't have said it was worth $2.99 either. And that's another one of my guys dead. That's probably about enough. Rather a boring game, to be perfectly honest, and not worth any more of my time, so we'll consign that one to the best never seen on the Commodore 64 pile and move on to the next one.